I should not have to inform you about turning your cameras on. Yeah. Okay. So in the previous class, we did learn about role of hormones other than the sex hormones, right? And the different glands that secretes them, right? The different glands that secretes them. Okay.
Sorry, sir.
Sorry about what?
My mic wasn't working.
Oh, no issue. Okay. I was basically saying everyone to keep your cameras on. Okay. See. So hormones not plays important role only in complete only in the only in like we humans right now, but it plays an important role in completing the life cycle of insects, life
Good.
cycle of frogs. Yeah, good evening, how are you?
Fine, sir.
For example, you all are familiar with the metamorphosis in frogs, right now, where the development in them takes place in different stages. Right now they go through drastic physical changes, right? Okay. But for this metamorphosis to take place in the frogs, an important iodine is required in the water in which metamorphosis is taking. And that important mineral is iodine. Now you may ask, like, why is iodine required? Are you guys able to recall something like why we humans need iodine? Because we have a gland called as thyroid gland. Am I correct?
Yes,
Right? Thyroid gland requires iodine for the production of thyroxine hormone. Right now, so even in this frog, you will find that thyroxine hormones are secreted by the thyroid glands that helps in the growth of frogs, that helps in this process of metamorphosis. But for the production of thyroxine hormone, it requires the presence of iodine in water. If ponds do not have sufficient iodine, so thyroxine hormone does not form, and tadpoles are unable to metamorphose into frogs. Clear now? There
yes,
shouldn't be
sir.
any doubt about it. Okay. Even in some other insects, right, like in the silk moth, right, in the silk moth, for there also for metamorphosis to take place, right, hormones are required even there. Okay, now metamorphosis, you all know that it's a biological process where an organism changes from one life stage to another, often involving a significant change in shape, structure, and form. As you can see, once these fertilized eggs, from these fertilized eggs, larva comes out from this. Then larva would be feeding on the leaves. They will feed on the leaves. They will grow, and they will start secreting the sticky cellulose-rich substance around it, and they will cover themselves with that. Okay, na? And that stage is called as like pupa. Later on, out of the pupa, it will basically emerge out. Okay, na? As an adult silk moth. Okay, that is the life cycle you are familiar with. Okay, Priyanka's not here today. I had to start a new chapter. 1 second. Guys, give me 1 second. I just need to drop a reminder for the counselor to call her. Please. To join new chapter as book is about to start. Hmm. Talking about reproductive health. Okay. See, why are we talking about reproductive health in the adolescence? Why are we talking about it? Because as we know that the adolescents, they are going through drastic change in their body, right? This rapid physical change, right now, there's emotional mental changes as well in them, right now. So since this period of adolescence, it includes physical change, emotional change, right now, so thereby their reproductive health in this period of transition is also important. So how is it maintained? How is it maintained? So thereby they need to consume a healthy diet, right? They need to consume a healthy diet. They should avoid any kind of substances that will harm their body, like tobacco, alcohol use, etc. Okay, they should participate in different kind of physical activities. You guys should be participating in the sports. Huh? I'm expecting that all of you are physically active and you guys are like participate in sports in the school. Huh? Abu Bakr, Duha, Mustafa, right?
Yes, sir.
And Priyanka.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, good evening. right?
Yes, sir.
Priyanka, right after this now we are going to start the chapter sound. Okay, now thereby I drop the messenger for the counselor and to call you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so there are different factors that leads to overall well-being in adolescence, right now. So it talks about nutritional needs where one should be consuming a healthy diet. It should be a well-balanced diet. You should be avoiding any kind of junk food. Okay, no. So there you need a balanced diet. One second. You need a balanced diet. A balanced diet is the one that has all the different nutrients in proper proportion. Right now, that is what we call as balanced diet. Huh? A balanced diet should have the right amount of carbohydrate, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, etc. in it. Getting it, guys? Like data basically says that the food that you're consuming, it should roughly contain 50 to 60% of carbs, of carbohydrate. Getting it, Toha? Right? Then your food
Yes,
should
sir.
contain somewhere between 10 to 30%, 10 to let's say 30%, or like 10 to 30% of protein should be there in your food. Okay, so that is also important, and you can get that by consuming nuts, seeds, fishes, etc. Sorry, I was referring to that would be actually like the fat actually. Talking about protein, so that you can get from nuts, from that you can get from meat, you can get that from lean meat, particularly you can get that. Then again, we see that 10 to 30% of fat is also important, but healthy fat is important. Okay, now fat is also different types. Okay, now but the healthy fat, like the unsaturated fats. What kind of fat am I talking about? Unsaturated fat. Unsaturated fat means non-animal fat, meaning that this fat should not be coming from particularly red meat. Getting it? It could be coming from sources like nuts, from seeds, from fish, right? No? So your diet should contain this amount of fats also. Understanding it. And in a balanced amount and a little amount of different kind of vitamins and minerals also important. Okay. Then children should also be made aware about the sex of education. Okay. Their mental and emotional well-being should also be taken care of, right? And what are the different reproductive health issues that also needs to be addressed? Some of the points I'll be talking here. Okay, no? Also, you can take a look at some of the uh, different kind of nutrients present in the different type of food items. The pulses and nuts, they are rich source of proteins that helps in growth, repair of the body, repair of the damaged cells and tissues in your body. Oranges, amla, right now they are good source of vitamin C. They keep the body healthy by providing resistance. Okay, now sugar, roti, that is basically chapati. So they are good source of carbohydrates that provides you energy. Oils, particularly oil coming from the plant-based sources like oils, linseed. You have olive oil. Olive oil is very good for health, right? Oil is there. Linseed is there. You have sunflower oil, etc. So they contain unsaturated fat, and that also provides energy. But you need to take that in regulated amount. Okay, then obviously we should be eating your vegetables. They are good source of vitamins and minerals, and that keeps your body healthy and disease free. Okay. Further, particularly talking about personal hygiene, so one should be taking a regular shower. Right now, they should take care of their hygiene, wear clean clothes, basically like that. Particularly in the case of the women during the menstrual cycle, they should be more conscious about the hygiene, right? Okay, so these are the major points about how to maintain, like the factors that affects the reproductive health. Okay. Then there's one more thing, that is the sexually transmitted diseases. So what are these? We get to often hear about these terms. So sexually transmitted diseases, okay, or sometimes also called as sexually transmitted infections, STI. That is sexually transmitted infections. They are the infections that are spread through sexual contact. Okay, there are different kind of sexually transmitted diseases, and they can be majorly categorized into two or three different types. Okay, na? Like they can be categorized as caused by bacteria, by virus, or by parasites. Majorly, we categorize them as viral infection as well as bacterial infections. Okay, some of them are like HIV and AIDS. Warts, these are the viral infection, meaning that they are caused by virus. While gonorrhea and syphilis and many, many more other are bacterial infections or bacterial sexually transmitted diseases. Okay. See, every year on the 1st of December, World AIDS Day is celebrated, is kind of observed all around the world. Okay. So let us get to know about this one first. Okay. Now, by the way, there are so many others also. Okay. Chlamydia is there, gonorrhea, genital herpes. Okay. Syphilis, HPV, HIV, etc. They're also sexually transmitted diseases. If you were to talk about HIV or AIDS, so there's this virus. Okay. There's a virus. What it does not, it basically damages the immune system. It damages the immune system. Okay, as the immune system is damaged, so it leads to vulnerability to different kind of infections. Understanding it, the person suffering from this will immediately experience like weight loss. Okay, they will suffer from fever regularly, they will be suffering from fever, right? They will suffer from fatigue and so many other problems. Even a smaller infection will be very serious in them. Okay. Then we have got some other diseases also here, like for example, gonorrhea, right? Now, it's caused by bacteria, right? And that kind of leads to thick discharge from the genitals, right? Now, it will lead to pain while the person would be urinating. It will be leading to swelling in the testicles, etc. And if it is not caused, if it is not treated, it can cause serious health problems in the reproductive organs, right? Now, about this, I will explain you one more thing. The name of the disease is AIDS. The full form is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Okay. While the name of the virus is HIV virus, that here stands for human immuno sorry human immunovirus. Okay. I hope that much is clear to everyone. Okay. And when
Yes,
is the world's AIDS day observed?
December 1st.
Mhm. In this now I will see actually it's human immunodeficiency. Okay, now human immunodeficiency virus, right? The virus that directly attacks the immune system. Okay. If you want to know further, like I will tell you one more thing that they basically attack the T cells in our body. Okay, now like T cells are the cells which basically helps fight infection. These cells actually help fight infections. So if these T cells are getting infected, if these are getting damaged, so obviously the person will be vulnerable to different kind of infections. Even the person will be likely to suffer from cancer also. Okay. So these were the different topics that we have discussed in this chapter. Okay, see guys, actually now, as of now, I can't do the questions from this chapter. Okay, now there are ton of questions which I have taken from it, but I can't do that because there's this chapter that is sound. Okay, and I need to cover that first. Okay, because like Priyanka's exam is upcoming, so I will have to finish that one. But later on, we'll be revisiting this and we'll be doing questions. I hope everyone is okay with that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so start the chapter then. Hmm. So the chapter name here is sound. Priyanka, turn your camera on. Abu Bakr and Doha, all of you turn your cameras on. Yes, turn your camera on. Hmm. Now let me tell you the things we are going to be learning in the chapter. Okay. So in the chapter we will learn about like sound, like how is it produced, what is sound, how is it produced. Okay. Then we will learn about how does the sound travel, how it travels from one place to another. What you're saying? Really bad network. Oh, yeah, network. That has been a regular problem, like Penka. Okay, for a very long period of time, I've observed that in your case, network connection always has been a problem. See if it can be somehow resolved. Huh? See. So we will learn about how sound travels from one place to another. Okay, what are the different terms associated with it? Like what is frequency? We all many times you would have heard about terms like frequency of sound, right? No. Okay, loudness of sound. We will get to learn about that. What is amplitude? What is pitch? Hmm? What is the audible range of the sound? You would be familiar with few basic things. For example, the range of sound that our ears can perceive is actually different from what bats, dolphins, whales, or dogs can hear. Right now, so, such things also will be discussing. Then we will understand what is noise, how noise is different from music. We'll be learning about the concern, this noise pollution, how it can be controlled. Also, we have to learn about the structure of the human ear. Also, like how does the human ear work? What are the different parts of the human structure? Okay, there are so many interesting things about the human ear. The human ear contains tiny bones in it also, right? Now, so this chapter is very interesting actually. Okay, no? Okay. First of all, the basic introduction. So the question is that what is sound? We say that sound is a form of energy. It's a form of energy that travels through a medium like air, water, or solid. So it first thing is clear that two things are clear so far. It's a form of energy and it needs a medium to travel, meaning it cannot travel in vacuum, obviously. Right now, it cannot travel in vacuum. So it is a form of energy. That's the first thing. Second thing is that it needs a medium. So medium could be anything, could be air, water, or solid, in which it will be traveling. Now the question is, how will it travel? So it will travel in the form of vibrations. Okay, now like when an object would be vibrating, so it will set the particles near it in vibration. It will set the particles near it in vibration. Like as this object is vibrating, so it will set the adjacent particles in vibration, and these particles will carry the energy with them. Okay, now once I get to the next slides, once we continue, we'll be discussing that in detail. Okay, so when an object vibrates, it sets the particles of the medium around it in motion that creates waves and reach our ears and are interpreted as sound. Like for example, if you were to plug the string of a guitar, right now, have you guys ever plugged the string of a guitar? Like even if you don't know to play or necessarily this, anyways. So have you ever played some musical instrument? For example,
Sir,
Yes,
I don't know
sir.
how to play it, but I've tried it.
okay, you have
Sir, like plucking a string.
haha plucking a string. Yeah, even I don't know how to play, but once I tried. Okay, so basically it vibrates and it produces sound. Okay, looks very simple, but what exactly is happening, that is what we need to understand. Okay, now what is exactly happening, we need to understand why the sound is being produced here, how our human ear is able to perceive it. Okay, so that is what we are going to learn. Okay, so right now I will be only telling you, giving you an overview. Later on we will be discussing that in detail. So when we plug the string of a guitar, it vibrates and produces sound. Our ears will collect those sound waves. The sound waves will travel into our ear, right? And then electrical signals will be sent to the brain via the auditory nerve. There will be a nerve that will, just like in your eye, you have a nerve, optic nerve, that carries the information to the brain where it is interpreted. Similarly, there will be a nerve that will be carrying the electrical signals to your brain, and your brain will interpret that as sound. Okay, getting it. So in this chapter, we'll be learning how sound is produced, how it travels, how we hear it, and how different properties like pitch and loudness are related to the vibrations that create sound. Okay. I know many of the things right now will not be clear. Once we understand different things, discuss different things, it will be clear then. Okay. Also, you will be you will agree to this that each sound is special to the object which produces it. Like for example, the ticking of a clock, hmm, or the click of an electric switch. right? Or the sound produced by the rotation of the ceiling fan. huh? So all of these are the characteristic sounds produced by them, right? Now produced by a clock, by electric switch or ceiling fan, respectively, right? Now you will also agree to this that we rarely forget a sound having heard it once, and we are quickly able to recognize that sound when we hear it again, right?
Yes, sir.
You may be having sound based memories
Mm.
also. Suppose with your parents you had went somewhere, you had went for picnic, or you have went to some new location. So there, the suppose you were sitting somewhere and the weather was pleasant, and they were chirping, bird chirpings. So many birds were, let's say, sitting on a tree. They were chirping, producing chirping sound and all that. So you can quickly memorize it, meaning that you'll be quickly able to um, what do we say? Memorize the entire experience with the help of that chirping of the birds. Getting it? So we have memory of sound also. Getting it now? So we rarely forget a
Yes.
sound. Like once have we have heard it, we can quickly recognize that sound when we hear it again. In fact, we can even recognize a person from the sound, right? If I were to turn my camera off, so you'll be quickly like you will say that I am the only one who is speaking right now here. Getting it? So we can even recognize the person from the sound even if we are not seeing the face of that person. Okay. So every sound has a unique quality which distinguishes it from other sounds. And this sound plays a very important role in our daily life. Okay. How does it play an important role? So it basically helps us communicate with one another, right? Okay. So imagine the life of the people who can't speak, right? Who are dumb. So they will be using the sign language. So life is actually really difficult for them. No? Not everyone knows how to understand the sign language. No. Okay. Getting back to the question, what is sound? So can we say that sound is a form of energy?
Yes, sir.
Right now.
Yes.
So far we from our understanding we can clearly say that sound is a form of energy. Okay. Then what else have we learned about sound so far?
It
That
travels through a medium.
travels through medium. Good. And one more thing we can say that it is produced when objects vibrates. Right now, it is produced when
Yes.
objects vibrates. Good. So for this, I will write down that sound is a form of energy which travels through different mediums: air, water, and solid when an object vibrates. When an object vibrates. That's a very simple definition for it. Okay. So in another words, we can also say that sound is produced by a vibrating object now. Right? Simply we can say that. Okay. Further, sound helps us to communicate with one another and plays an important role in our life. Vibrating body produces sound. Okay. So as you can see, these are the musical instruments, and once they will be vibrated, as the membrane of this drum will be hit with this stick, so it will produce the sound. As we pluck the string of the guitar, it makes a to and fro motion. It vibrates now, and it produces sound in slow motion. If you were to see, you will see that it will be rapidly moving. Like you all would have like sometime seen this tuning fork. Or suppose, for example, if you were to take a scale, I don't have it here right now, otherwise I would have demonstrated a simple thing. Suppose if you take a scale and you place it at the edge of your table, and you basically pluck it like that, so you will see how fast it will start rotating, right?
Yes, sir.
Getting it? By the way, I'm visible to everyone, no? Huh.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So sound is produced. One thing we can say that sound is produced due to vibration of the body. Okay, but now the question is that one more thing. A few minutes ago, I was saying that each sound that is produced is special to the object which produces it. I gave the example of ticking of clock, clicking of electric switch, etc. Similar to that, we see that each sound produced is special to these musical instruments, no? Right? They're special to these musical instruments. Okay. Like this is how the musical instruments are producing the sound. Like particularly in the case of the winds and brass, right now, as we blow the air in it, right now, so due to the blowing of the air in it, sound is produced. Okay. Then these are the percussion instruments, like when they are struck, so due to a striking sound is produced. Like when these two metal plates will be struck, they will produce sound. Okay. These are the string instruments. Question is like how we humans produce sound. So everyone knows about it. Like we have discussed about larynx. Right now, larynx also called as the voice box. In the previous chapter, we were discussing about it. Okay. So it is present in our throat on the upper side of the windpipe. Okay. No? Okay. So this larynx, it has got vocal cords in it, as you can see here. That's the vocal cord. Behind that, you can see the cartilaginous windpipe. Okay, na? Windpipe is made up of cartilage, by the way. Okay, so this is basically windpipe. So as the air passes through it, these vocal cords that you're seeing here, they start vibrating. The as I'm speaking right now, so basically air is passing through the windpipe. Okay, na? It's passing through the windpipe and it is making these two vibrate. Okay, so just try to understand this, like how much, at what speed they must be vibrating that this much of sound is coming out from my mouth. Huh? So they vibrate really fast and they produce the sound. Okay, then each person has a unique voice. Why is it so? Because the thickness and the tightness of these vocal cords in different person is different actually, right? Generally, in male, the vocal cords are of length 20 millimeter, and females have 15 millimeter long vocal cords. Children, on the other hand, are very, very short length vocal cords, right now. So, have you noticed this thing that the sound of the children's, like if they were to scream, it's really painful to the ear, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Hmm? Right. So, because of the difference in the shape, the size, and the tightness of the vocal cords, each person, okay, and people belonging to different ages have got different sound. Their pitch will be different, right, etc. So basically I have explained the mechanism here, that as the lungs through the air out of the windpipe, it passes through the slit, it passes through gap here, like this slit, that is the gap, and allows the production of sound as the vocal cords start vibrating. Okay, we are yet to learn about the propagation of the sound also, but there's one more concept here that we need to understand. Okay. Like sound travels in the form of waves actually. Later on, you will get to understand that sound travels in the form of waves. But we need to understand the concept of waves also. Like, what do we understand by wave? What do we understand by wave? See, wave is basically a disturbance that travels through a medium or a space. It could be either through medium like air, water, or solid, or it could be in the space also. And it will be transferring energy from one point to another without the transport of matter. Okay. Say, for example, light travels in the form of waves, right? Light travels in the form of waves. Okay. And light can travel in space. It can travel even without the presence of medium, no? Okay. So
Yes,
light
sir.
can travel in the form, light is basically, it can travel in the space. Okay. So light is such type of wave which does not require a medium to travel. So light is said to be an electromagnetic wave. Okay, na? So electromagnetic waves does not require a medium for its propagation for traveling. So an example of that is light. Getting it, guys? Okay, talking about mechanical wave. So mechanical waves requires a medium. Okay, now mechanical waves always require will always require a medium for its propagation from one place to another, from its source to the receiver, from its source to the receiver. So sound is an example of a mechanical wave. Getting it? Sound is an example of a mechanical wave over here. So it requires a medium for propagation. An example of that is sound. Okay. So we can conclude here that sound travels in the form of waves, and particularly it's a mechanical wave. Sound is a mechanical wave. About light, you see that light is an example of a it's an example of electromagnetic wave. Okay. Is that much clear to everyone so far?
Yes.
Okay. So since
Yes, sir.
sound is a mechanical wave, can it travel in vacuum?
No, sir.
Obviously no. Good. Question is like, what is wave? How do we define wave?
It's a disturbance that travels through a medium, that is air, water, or a solid.
Good. Or even in a space, right now.
Yeah,
So, right, and that basically transfers the energy from one place to another. Transfers the energy. Okay, let me explain that to you once again. Okay, now we will later we'll be learning about propagation of sound through the medium. Right now, I'm trying to explain this thing about it. That wave is a disturbance that transfers energy from one point to another without the transport of the matter. Okay, say that this is a some loudspeaker over here. That is the membrane. Okay, you know how the loudspeaker looks right now. It has a membrane over here. So this membrane starts to vibrate when it is played now. You guys have seen how the loudspeaker plays. So this membrane starts vibrating. Suppose if you were to put something above it, if you were to put a small ball or some sand particles, so they will start vibrating. Okay, so this membrane starts to vibrate. As this membrane starts to vibrate, okay, now basically it's the same thing over here. This membrane that is vibrating, so it basically creates sound waves. It creates sound waves, and the wave will carry the energy from this to the receiver. Like we are the receiver here. We are catching that sound energy right now. So from the matter, from the object, the energy is being transmitted by the help of these waves. Understanding it, guys? Or is it a
yeah.
bit confusing? Huh, Abu Bakr, Mustafa, you guys are silent, tell me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no? So it's transferring the energy from one point to another. Is the loudspeaker going from here to here? Huh? It stays there only, no? It is not going, the matter is not traveling, but only the energy is being transferred. Okay? Okay. So far, we have discussed about sound, how it is produced, right? Some of the general things about the sound. Then we discussed about the wave also. That what is wave? It's a disturbance that travels in that travels can travel in medium as well as in the absence of medium also. It basically transfers the energy from the point of source to the receiver without the transfer of that object. Okay. So now since sound is a mechanical wave, as I said moments ago, it's a mechanical wave. So it always requires a medium to travel from the source of its production to the receiver in end. Receiver in end here means basically the person who is hearing it, right? Okay. Different mediums of propagation of sound are air, liquid, and solids. So sound can travel in all three different mediums, right? But it cannot travel through vacuum because it lacks any medium of transmission. Okay. Now the question is, you guys tell me, in this image, in this, you will observe that these are some particles. Like say that these are the particles of the air. Okay. As this loudspeaker is being played, so you can see that the particles are now being like they are getting displaced. They are displaced. They are set into motion, like they are vibrating. Okay, na? So basically, they are helping in transmitting the sound energy from the point of production to the receiver's end. By vibrating, they are carrying the energy with them and transferring it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So particles are found present in air, liquid, and solid. But are there any particles in vacuum?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So since particles are absent in vacuum, how can the energy be carried by them? How can the how can there be carrying of energy in vacuum? I hope you guys are able to understand the role of particles here.
So if
Right?
there's
Yes.
no
Yes, sir.
medium that is particles, there will be no sound in vacuum.
Exactly, because for the propagation of sound, for the movement of sound, we need particles, and particles are present only in air, liquid, and solids. Okay, good. Now, this is a really interesting video over here, which is to explain you how when sound is produced, okay, na? So it sets vibrations in the air. It sets the particles of air into movement. Generally, like if I were to give you a general statement, so you will say like does not things does not get clear that much. Huh? But here you can see as sound is being played near this flowing water, so you can see how the flow of the water has changed. Right now, you will see tiny movements of the ripples of the water over here. Right, getting it. So these when sound is produced near water, it creates vibration in the air, and these vibrations travels as sound waves. As you know, the vibrations here travels as the sound waves, and you can see the tiny movement, like you can see the movement of the water here, right? Why is it happening? Because the sound waves, they are kind of transferring the energy to the water, and their particles are moving up and down like that. Okay, now, but you won't get to observe this everywhere. Why so? Because this effect is usually like it really depends upon how loud the sound is. If a very loud sound is produced, only then you will be able to experience this. Getting it, everyone? Okay.
Yes,
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Are the is the water making a wave-like pattern here?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
yes,
So that should be sufficient. That should be sufficient to conclude that sound travels in the form of waves, right? Good.
yes, sir.
Okay. So just as I have been telling you that sound travels in medium by causing the particles of that medium like air, water, or solid to vibrate. Okay. There are some interesting general facts like sound travels 4 times faster than air. Okay, na? Sound through water. I mean to say sound through water. Okay, travels 4 times faster than through the air. Obviously, why? Because the particles in the liquid are more tightly packed than the particles in the air. So they will easily transmit the energy with them, carry the energy. Getting it, Priyanka, Doha, and everyone? Say in
Yes.
what?
I didn't understand how
Uh,
it can
sure,
pass
sure.
through faster in the water.
Yeah, I will be explaining that. Okay. You just look at one thing here, like look at the closeness of the particles here. Okay. And then you look at the closeness of these particles. Say that these are the particles of gas. Okay. The particles are farther away here. Particles are farther away from one another. Okay. But in this one, particles are closer. Particles are closer. Okay. There'll be many, many particles like that. Suppose. Okay. Here also, one second. Hmm. So suppose, for example, here I have placed a loudspeaker, right? That's a loudspeaker, suppose. Here also I have placed it, and here also I have placed it. Okay, here also I have placed it. So the moment this loudspeaker is going to be turned on, okay, so it will start to vibrate these particles now, right? It will start to vibrate the particles. Okay. So since the particles of this water, of this liquid, they are closer to one another right now. So there's less gap between them. So this particle, for example, say this particle will hit another particle, this will hit another particle, and like that. Okay. Keep it in mind that the particles are closer in this one. So it will take lesser time for the particles to hit one another and transmit the sound energy. But in this case, the particles are farther away from one another. So this particle will take more amount of time in order to hit another particle. Similarly, this will take more amount of time to hit another particle in comparison to particles of the water. Understanding it now, Doha and everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Sir, but then, how is it that like when we are swimming in the water and we
Mhm.
try and we're diving, and then when we try to talk to each other, we can't hear the words we like when we try to talk, we can't hear each other
Mhm.
properly.
Yeah, I understood that. That's a good question. Hmm. See, basically the thing is that human ear is not designed to work properly under the water. Getting it? Our human ear, it's not designed properly. Getting it? To work under the water. Our hearing abilities, they are diminished when they are submerged under the water, right? Why so? Because the human auditory system, now the human ear system, right, is an air-filled structure. Like it is evolved, like it is suited to work in the presence of air. Getting it now? It is evolved in such a manner, it's made in such a manner that it can process sound waves that are traveling through the air. It is not designed to process the sound waves that is traveling in the water. Getting it what I'm trying to say? Our ear are not designed to process the sound that is traveling through the water, but only to process the sound that is traveling through the air. Hope that makes things clear.
Yes.
Okay, no? Good. Another fact is that sound through solids will travel 13 times faster than through the air. Obviously, you know the reason, same reason here, right? Because the particles of the solid are even more closer to one another in comparison to the particles of the gas. The particles of gas are this far, the particles of solids are this close to one another. Okay. Now let's understand like how do we hear, right? Production of sound, we have learned how the humans produce sound. Let's get familiar with this also. See, general thing you already have understood so far, right? That sound travels as waves through the air or another media, other medias. These waves are created by vibration of the objects, which compresses and rarefy the air around them. There's one more thing I will just like to add here. See, the you look at this animation here, so you will see now that in this animation, the particles are coming closer to one another, and at some places they are further away from one another. Getting it? It's not like they are traveling in a very regular manner. At some places, the particles are really close to one another. At some places, they are very far away from one another. If I were to try to draw it, so like sometimes they are farther away, while sometimes they are very close to one another. I suppose everyone can observe that in this, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
What about you guys? Priyanka? Priyanka, are you still having the network issue?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you are understanding the things we're discussing here, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So the thing is that, yeah, as I was saying, that sound basically sets disturbance in the air. They make the particles vibrate. But how do the particles vibrate? How do they carry the energy with them? So they basically get compressed and they get rarefied. Like in the form of compressions and rarefactions, the energy is being carried. Getting it, guys? In the form of compression and rarefactions, the energy by the particles are being carried from the point of production to the receiver end. Okay, I hope this one is also clear to everyone. The particles, they are, you can see here, they are compressing and they are getting further away from one another. So this is called as compression, and that one will be called as a rarefaction. So in this manner, the particles are vibrating to help transmit the energy. Okay, so waves are created by vibrating objects which compress and rarefy the air around them. More specifically, which compress the particles and rarefy the particles around them, we can say. Okay. Our human ear, it can be mainly divided for the purpose of understanding its functioning. We can divide it into three different parts. This is the external part or the outer ear, the one that is you're seeing in the red color. Okay, this much. Then this is the middle ear. Middle ear here is basically this membrane and the three tiny bones present in it. That is malleus, incus, and stapes. Let me repeat. This is the outer ear, right? That basically is made up of auditory canal, and we can count the ear pinna and earlobe in it also. The middle ear contains this eardrum. Generally, we call that as eardrum. Okay, but the more specific term for it is tympanic membrane. Anyways, we will call it as eardrum only. Then the three tiny bones that makes the middle ear. Then the third ear is made by this structure that is called as cochlea. This cochlea makes up the inner ear, I mean to say, not the third. That makes up the inner ear. Now I want all of you to look at this animation. When I will say to start observing, yeah, now you start observing it. What is the question? Second songs without anything. So that's a good question. Basically, as I was telling you about moments ago, no, like uh, we humans now we have smell based memory also, right? Then we even have sound based memory, like we have sound based memory. Has it ever happened with you guys that you smelled something, okay, na, and you are able to quickly uh, recall like where you have smelled that, like you can uh, associate associate the smell of that thing with some places where you have smelled it in the past. Understanding what I'm trying to say? Suppose, for example, you
Yes.
smell something really pleasant, so you can actually you're able to recall it, like associated with different places or some other things. Okay, same is with that also. The reason we can hear songs in our head, even though like there isn't any external sound present at that time, because our brain can create mental music by activating the auditory parts without uh, without actual sound waves reaching our ear. Okay, na? There are different regions of the brain. There's one specific region of the brain. One second, please. There's one specific area in the brain that we call as auditory cortex. That is called as auditory cortex in the brain, which processes the sound. So when you think of a sound or you remember it, so your brain kind of replays the musical patterns, and it will be using the memory, it will using the network system, and that will stimulate it basically to help you stimulate the experience of hearing it. Once you have heard some music, suppose, so you'd be having an experience of hearing it, right? So the neurological patterns in your brain, like they'll be working together to help you stimulate the experience of hearing that, right now. So the this internal hearing you're saying, it's influenced by the brain's memory centers, right? It's like that. So there's musical memory in the brain also, right now. So that is the thing. Okay. So that is the thing. I suppose that is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sometimes it may feel distracting or annoying also, right? Sometimes it might be
Yes,
feeling
sir.
a bit annoying also, like even though you don't want to, but still it you'd be experiencing it. Okay. Yeah. So talking about this structure as I was saying here, to look at this animation here. So you can clearly see that as the sound wave is passing through the auditory canal, okay, no? Auditory canal is basically this long canal over here, right? So the sound waves, they are hitting this eardrum. Let me get to this. As the sound waves are collected, by the way, one more thing. Ever thought about what is the use of this cartilaginous structure? Your ear is a cartilaginous structure made up of cartilage, right? This is called as ear pinna, and that is called as ear lobe. The entire working is happening in the auditory nerve, middle ear, and this in the cochlea. So, what is the use of ear lobe and ear pinna? Ever thought about it? I had asked this a similar question to a student. I remember, um, like 1 or 2 years ago, I think. So he told me that, sir, if we did not had the ear lobe, na, if we did not had this external structure, how would we be able to wear the sunglasses? So that was the reply which I got. Huh? See, the main reason behind it is that this structure helps in collection of the sound waves. What it does, it basically helps in collecting the sound waves. Getting it? So the ear lobe and the ear pinna, they basically help in collecting the sound waves. Okay, but in general, there's one more important thing about it is that it also kind of helps in losing the extra heat of the body also. Okay, like in humans, it does not help that much, but in some animals, their ears are really long. Like there's this fox called as fennec fox, if I'm correct, that is what it is called as. So it has
Yes, sir.
really very long ears, and it helps it to get rid of the extra body heat. Okay, because there's rich blood vessels in it, rich flow of blood in it in the ear, and that will help. Anyways, so the this ear lobe and the ear pinna, also this has been designed in that manner. Like why the ear looks so like that? Because that spatial design helps to collect the sound waves. So as the sound waves are collected, so then it is made to pass through the ear canal. It passes through the ear canal. Ear canal sometimes is also called as auditory canal. Okay, now we can call this as auditory canal also. So don't get confused if I sometimes say it auditory canal. Okay, so as it passes through the external auditory canal, it starts to hit this eardrum. Getting it, Priyanka, Mustafa, and everyone? So it hits the eardrum. As it hits the eardrum, so eardrum basically transfers the vibrations further. It transfers the vibrations further to the three tiny bones, also known by the term of ossicles. They are malleus, incus, and stapes. They call us malleus, incus, and stapes. Out of all of that, no, stapes is the smallest bone, by the way. Okay, in fact, stapes is the smallest bone in our body, right? If someone were to ask the smallest bone, so that is stapes present in the ear. Okay. By the way, you guys tell me, before this, were you guys aware that there are bones present inside your ear also? Were you aware about it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You were. That's good. Good. So as the sound vibrations are sent further by the eardrum to these tiny bones, no? So what happens? They are further amplified, right? It becomes more intense, kind of, we can say. Okay. So which they basically amplify the sound by vibrating together. As you can see here, these tiny bones are also now starting to vibrate. After that, what happens? The sound waves are now further going to travel in the inner ear. Okay, so this one is really interesting. Okay, now the working, sorry, the working of the inner ear is very interesting actually. Okay, so let us understand what exactly happens here in the inner ear. The sound waves. First, let me tell you a brief, in brief about this cochlea. Okay, See, this cochlea contains liquid in it. This cochlea that I'm seeing here, it contains liquid substances in it, and it has got a very sensitive cells in it, which are very sensitive towards sound. Getting it? They are very sensitive towards the sound. So this cochlea is a coiled tube-like structure. One end of the cochlea, as you can see here in this animation, one end of this cochlea is connected to the stapes bone. Okay, so one end of the cochlea is connected to the, or we can say it's connected to the middle part of the ear. This is the middle part of the ear. So one end of the cochlea is connected to the middle part of the ear, right? And cochlea is filled with a liquid. Now the liquid that is filled in this cochlea, it contains nerve cells which are very very sensitive to the sound. Okay, now, which are very sensitive to the sound. Okay. Then the other end of this cochlea is connected to the auditory nerve here. That is connected to the auditory nerve, also called as eustachian tube. The other end of it is connected to the auditory nerve, which directly goes into the brain. Okay. Now let me tell you about this cochlea. What exactly happens once again? So as those nerve cells, they get stimulated and they'll be converting these sound waves into electrical signals. And the electrical signals are sent via the auditory nerve, via this auditory nerve. Sorry, eustachian tube is actually different. Moments ago I said it mistakenly. That's a different thing. So this is the auditory nerve that will be carrying the electrical signals to the brain, and our brain basically interprets it. So in cochlea, what I have said so far, it's connected to stapes on one end, while on another end it basically is connected to the auditory nerve. Then further I say that this cochlea contains some liquids, and that liquid has got um nerve cells in it. Okay, nerve cells in it, which are very sensitive to the sound. Sensitive to sound. What they will do, they will convert the sound waves into electrical signals, and those electrical signals are carried by the auditory nerve to your brain. And as it goes to the brain will be interpreting it, and that is how we get to hear the sound. Is that much clear to everyone so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that was all for today's class. We have covered good number of topics. In the next class, we'll be learning about different terms associated with sound, that is amplitude, time period, and frequency. Okay. Make sure you guys read the NCERT